Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown. The three, steps back, crossover, puts up a three. Rebound James. Second. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
Cleveland! This is for you!
What is up, Cavs fans? We are back. Tonight, the Cleveland Cavaliers tipped off their first preseason game of the 25-26 season against the Chicago Bulls. And fellas, we have actual basketball to talk about. We're back to being live on YouTube. We're back. What did you guys think? I'll start with you, Tim. What did you think of the first Cavs preseason opening debut?
It was fun, man. It was so nice to have basketball back. I love the Peacock broadcast. I thought it was great. Noah Eagle is awesome. One of the best play-by-play guys in the world. Having Reggie Miller there, I thought his insight to the game was tremendous. I thought the scorebug was great. How it just kind of like matched the color of the team uniform instead of being some bland block or whatever and having the team logos on there. You don't realize how much having the team logo adds to a presentation. I thought that was great as well. And then on the other side of things, there's obviously the Cavs side of things. They looked like they did at their best last year in stretches. You know, obviously the starters played three groups of time together, and then kind of went from there. But I thought Mobley and Mitchell looked great. I thought DeAndre Hunter looked awesome. Obviously, this is preseason basketball against the Chicago Bulls, who might be a top 10 offense and a top 30 defense. So I have to kind of not get too far ahead of my skis there. But night was fun. Tyrese Proctor was super fun to watch play. Larry Nance looked really fun. Daquan Tomlin, I know Kevin's pretty talked about that with Zach last week. He's pretty high on him, who I am as well. I thought everyone really kind of delivered except for Alonzo. I mean, that's, his first basketball game and God knows how long. So I feel like we'll be saying that sentence a lot.
To comment on why the NBA or the NBA on NBC score bug and everything was great. The reason I love it is because there isn't the diff like there is on the.
Oh God, I forgot about the diff. We'll have it back Friday in Chicago. Don't worry.
Kevin, I'll jump to you. What did you see in this first preseason game? What excites you? What's up?
Not a lot. No. I mean, preseason game one for a team with championship aspirations, it's hard to get, super excited. But as Tim said, you look for little nuggets. You look for individual performances, anything new this year. I think the thing I looked for, I did listen to Kenny Atkinson's interview right before the game. And the two players he talked about were DeAndre Hunter and Evan Mobley taking a leap. He said Evan was now like the big man on campus, the way he walks around the facility. And DeAndre Hunter was the first guy he talked about as just how much more comfortable he is, how much he expected his game to expand this year. And that was something you saw. So I happened to watch those guys a lot. And DeAndre, you could tell, was looking to be aggressive with the ball a lot more than he was last year. Last year, he probably stood outside the 3-point arc more than you'd want him to. So it was nice to see him kind of be an integral part of the offense, and Evan, more than anything, this continued the, I guess, hype that Evan could take yet another leap this year. I think he looked phenomenal and obviously pretty limited minutes.
Yeah, I saw that interview also. And did Kenny Atkinson drink a bottle of NyQuil? He sounded so uninterested in being in any type of interview. No energy at all.
Give me to New York in 3 weeks. Let's just get there.
Yeah. The only other thing I wrote down that I wanted to mention, I thought it was interesting that Jalen Tyson started tonight. Obviously no Sam Merrill. We know there's no Garland and Strus. You would imagine Sam's going to start, assuming he's available to begin the year. But I think maybe we're talking about little nuggets. That's a little thing that you could say, like, maybe they are counting on Jalen Tyson to play a pretty major role in the rotation. Maybe not starting, but just the fact that he was, the next guy up with Sam Merrill out tonight. I found that interesting and thought he looked good. And I continue to think Jalen Tyson can do a lot of the, fill in a lot of the pieces where the Cavs struggle with perimeter defense, hustle plays. He dove on the floor a couple of times in the first preseason game. So that was the thing maybe I was the most excited about, that I was a little surprised by to see him start tonight.
Yeah, he kind
I
of
would
did
agree.
like the Isaac Okoro things tonight, right? Like he kind of did the Isaac like the dirty work.
Yeah, I think he definitely did the dirty work. He doesn't have the counting stats, and we saw last year that he can kind of do a little more offensively than what Isaac gave. So it was awesome to see just the hard nosed defense, the dirty work, everything like that. The one point that I wanted to talk on was last year we saw Kenny Atkinson really rely on a zone defense. It seemed like this year they focused on switches and man-to-man defense way more, knowing that that was kind of something that got them late in the season. So it was good to see just a little bit of a defensive change or a different coaching change around how they approach this game. Granted, it's the first preseason game. I know I'm ahead of my skis.
Against the Bulls.
Against the Bulls. But that was still like the first thing I noticed is how often they were switching, how versatile these guys were. And it seems like we had some questions about some of the guys that they brought in and championed some of the others, but it seemed like they all played very physical, very tall. They were sticky in passing lanes. They were block shots galore. They were hard on the defensive end. So those were all things that I really liked seeing on this team. Kevin, I'm going to go to you.
Yep.
What is it like having Larry Nance Jr. back in on this team?
He gives them an option they didn't have last year, to have a 3-point shooting big man to play with Evan Mobley that opens up the floor a little bit more for Evan, as they've talked about Evan expanding his offensive repertoire, particularly his ball handling, playmaking, things of that nature. So, you give what was the best offense in the NBA last year an additional weapon like that. I mean, it's just, it makes it fun. It makes it something else that you can kind of look for. And I really think that pairing, I think you're going to mostly see Larry play with Evan. I think that's going to be the pairing that you see whatever minutes that Larry plays. I thought it was fun to, and more than anything, Larry Nance belongs in a Cavs uniform.
Yeah. I thought it was funny when they were talking about with Larry, they were like, well, did he have to ask dad again if he could wear 22? I thought that was really fun. Yeah, so you kind of saw a lot of the actions they worked. I know Lonzo's box score doesn't look very good by any means, but some of the actions that they ran when those two on the floor together, like they had the one late in the first quarter where they had that short roll at the corner, and I really like that action. I think that's gonna be something that's gonna go through where Larry gets the open three, he just doesn't knock it down. That certainly helps a lot. Cutting, obviously, was something that's kind of underrated in his game, and you saw that at the end of the first half. He had that really nice two-handed dunk, and I thought physically played defense really well. Obviously, he's one of the guys who's kind of, when the Bulls had their starters in, he's picking up some of those bigger names as well, the Buzelises and things like that. And he got to go a couple minutes against those guys. And I mostly played against like the Patrick Williamsons and subs of that by any means, but thought that his physicality kind of really shined a lot as well. Kind of like Kevin said, it's not only that they're getting that, but we kind of felt like those, Tristan Thompson wasn't giving them anything as far as like what they need as for a backup big for anything really, besides that last game when he had like 47 rebounds. And Larry Nance kind of fills in all those pieces that they were not getting at all last year.
Yeah, I think the just added depth under center. They mentioned it on the broadcast that Kenny told Jared Allen, "Hey, we love that you want to play 82 games, that you want to be the Iron Man, but we're not going to have you do that this year. We're going to have you take games off and be as absolutely ready at the end of the season as possible." I think a lot of the reason that he played 82 games last year was because he had to. There wasn't anybody else able to really do what Jared Allen was able to do on a night in, night out basis. Like you said, we had Tristan Thompson, who was really there for just like
he was a
moral
mascot.
spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Moondog.
Last year they only had two reliable big guys. This year, I would say they have 4.5. Some people would say they have 5. I'm not as high on Thomas Bryant as some others, But you talk about having Larry Nance and the development of Naquan Tomlin and what he could potentially bring to this team. Those were just things they didn't have last year. And not only will it give them an added dimension, on any game, but it also gives them a lot more ability to have JA take a night off, have Evan take a night off,
For sure.
to, prioritize going big against other teams, where last year, for as big as they are when they start the game with Jared and Evan, they actually played small a lot because for a bulk of the game, it was only one of those guys on the floor. So I think that is maybe the biggest difference with this team this year, is their ability to go big and go big in different ways with different skill sets.
Yeah, for sure. And I think just having that versatility, that depth that you have amongst kind of the guys that you've brought in here, not only help I don't want to call them holes in the roster, because they're definitely not holes, but the weaker spots in the roster. But we also saw how those guys paired with the guys on the roster, the developing guys like Craig Porter Jr., who had an incredible night.
Yeah, he looked really good.
He actually led the Cavs in scoring, and just 4 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, 17 points. I mean, a lot of that comes with playing with that second unit, which is a lot where all those guys that they brought into this roster. So, Dan, how do you see not only the guys that they brought in doing the jobs that they were assigned to do, but also helping develop the other parts of other skills in the players on this roster?
That's a good question. I mean, obviously, the good thing about the guys they brought in is they're kind of there to kind of fit a specific thing that they do best, right? Like Lonzo Ball is there for defensive playmaking. The Cavs are probably not relying on him to score 18 points. If they do, it's probably not going to be ideal. Larry Nance Jr. is there to kind of, like Kevin said, stretch the floor, give Evan a little bit more leeway, cut to the basket when need be. I feel like those two guys really kind of stood out a little bit with what they did for their job. You saw a glimpse of what it's going to be like. And then kind of go further down that line. So, Thomas Bryant tonight, late in the game, obviously going against the end of their bench, kind of just signed with the team last week. You suspect he's not going to play big minutes quite yet. You kind of saw what he brings as far as like having that ability to also kind of give it a little bit extra, that pick and pop 3-point shooting as well. Not to the same level as Nance, obviously, but still something that could be beneficial. A guy who's played in big games. He played in the finals last year, was on the NBA title team the year before that. And then you look at guys like Tyrese Proctor, who like are developing, but certainly looks like they belong. I mean, certainly looks like he's a dude who, like, yeah, he's probably gonna play a lot for the Charge this year, but everything you're hearing from camp, everything you're hearing from practices, and what you saw tonight, Kenny Atkinson seems to really trust him. So would I be shocked if at some point down the stretch he's playing big minutes? I would not be. Well, by big minutes, I mean like 12, 13. I shouldn't go that crazy. But I do feel like he's going to be a guy who's going to be part of this team for sure.
Yeah, I think it depends on the health of the other guys. If they're pretty healthy, if they stay healthy and get Garland and Strus back, I don't think Tyrese sees the floor very much this year. But I do think I want to go back to Craig Porter Jr. for a second, because he has an opportunity, obviously a huge opportunity to start the season with Garland and Strus
What
out.
an athlete, man.
Yeah, it was really good to see him play tonight. And Skylar and I when we were as well, Summer League was going on, and we talked about Jalen Tyson and Craig Porter Jr. as guys that could carve out a role in this team. And it's not going to be what Junior did tonight. It's going to be by doing the dirty work and playing really high level defense, pressure defense. And you saw tonight, like, I mean, some of this is playing the Bulls in the first preseason game,
right?
Causing 25 turnovers, 18 steals. That might have been, I don't know what the most steals in a game were in the NBA season last year, but I bet it wasn't much more than 18. Like that's pretty wild to have that much and then to lose the game on top of it. But yeah, I think Craig and Jalen also have, I think this is their time. I mean, normally you think young guys might get more of an opportunity as the season goes on. I think their best to be these first 15, 20 games when Garland's out or just coming back and Strus is still going to be out. And who knows who else may have to miss some time. They certainly have. So I think that's the biggest hole in this team is that we haven't talked about is I think they have a lot of injury prone guys, and they were incredibly healthy last year. So I think you almost have to account for being less healthy this year. And
especially with the guys they brought in. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially with the, Lonzo most of all, but Larry's missed a lot of time, in past seasons. So I really think, I really think that there's going to be opportunities for young guys, maybe Tyrese, but especially, Craig and Jalen. And it was good to see those guys kind of come ready to play and ready to fill the roles that the Cavs need them to.
No, that's a great point. I do think, and maybe it's because I'm not as keened into other teams' depth chart as I am the Cavs. I do think the Cavs have a really good depth up and down, because we have guys that are definitely going to be in the G League this year that we saw, like Tyrese Proctor looked like he could play. Jalen Tyson, who spent a lot of time in the G League last year, he looks like he can play. So when you have guys that are injury prone, like Garland, Strus, DeAndre Hunter, Lonzo Ball, Larry Nance Jr., I can go on and on. You're right. It's definitely going to create opportunities for these guys to get some playing time. And I like Kenny being the coach in that situation, because we've seen Kenny getting the best out of not only young guys, but kind of all of his staff as a whole.
Yeah. You mentioned the depth. I saw this earlier. I was trying to find confirmation real quick, but as far as compared to other teams, TJ McConnell had to get taken to the locker room tonight in the Pacers preseason game against the Timberwolves. So, hopefully it's nothing serious for their sake, but maybe another thing that could potentially benefit the Cavs down the road. Or maybe it's nothing because it's the preseason.
Could be nothing. Could be something. You don't know. They're already short Tyrese Halliburton.
They're still going to be good. I'm not selling the Pacers.
My last thought on tonight's game, and I want to ask you guys both, no prep. Be honest. Did you know there was a guy on the Cavs named Miller Cope?
Nope.
I
honestly forgot Killian Hayes signed a G League deal until
you were the most excited about it.
Killian Cleveland Charge G League MVP. I'm getting on FanDuel and seeing what the odds are.
There's probably low odds.
Dude, I bet you G League is like when Jimmer goes to China. Like, I bet it's like that. NBA? No way in hell. No way in hell. But
I was gonna say otherwise, not a lot you're gonna learn about the preseason game one, but it was good. Most of all, it was just good to see the Cavs play basketball and be able to talk about a basketball game, even if it's an unimportant one.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. The offseason has been a slog for us, and it's good to just kind of be back in rhythm and have Cavs ball to talk about. I know we got a little glimpse in Summer League, but now it's not technically real yet, but you're seeing Donovan Mitchell play, which is always
right.
Always
you're seeing Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell. You feel good. Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't have to go too far into this. Like I said, first preseason game. So there's not a ton to,
We think we probably covered everything there is to cover for this. One of the
pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, we've gone longer than Donovan Mitchell played tonight. So
yeah.
So with that, we can go ahead and wrap it up out of here. This is just obviously the first preseason game, as we've mentioned lots, but stick with us, stay on the channel, subscribe. We're really trying to grow the YouTube channel. Find us on any of your audio platforms out there. We're on all of them. Subscribe for free and be a friend, tell a friend. We're just Cavs fans trying to make a good show for other Cavs fans. So let us know what you like, what you hate. Hop in the comments. We love interacting with you guys, especially on all of our social media platforms. So for that, he's Tim Daniel. He's Kevin Lynch. I'm Skylar Webker. And as always,
go Cavs.